Hello everyone, Neil back again with another film review for you, and today I'm going to be taking a look at The Flash. Yeah, you see what I did there because of the hook, the grabber being Michael Keaton's Batman Returns. So that's why everybody's interested in the movie. Even though it's not doing too good at the box office, that's the main pull here. The rest of the movie is, well, not bad, actually. If you take Keaton out of the movie, is it bad? Nope. Actually, it does have some moments. All right, first off, before I get into this movie, spoilers. Spoiler alert. Yes, you have been warned. All right, moving on. This film was directed by Andy Muschietti, who also directed It Chapters 1 and 2. And it's played for laughs a lot of the time. It's kind of goofy and silly. Still fun, though, but it's a bad Flashpoint if you're a comic book fan or a fan of the animated film, Flashpoint. It is set after the events of Justice League, or Justice League, I should say, the 2017 film, although the Zack Snyder cut, I would think, has replaced the original Justice League, or Justice League, because that one made the Flash look really dumb, really immature. That's not Barry Allen, that's an immature Barry, closer to Wally or Bart. It's just not, it's not Barry. They needed to get that character right, and they didn't. However, in the Snyder Cut, he's much more tolerable, and in this one, The Flash, he's actually not bad. Ezra Miller does a really good job in this dual role here. So the story is about him discovering he can go back in time in order to save his mom because she's murdered. She's stabbed by apparently random thieves, is their assumption. We never really find out, I don't believe, who the killer was in this case. Unlike the TV show, it's a little different. In the comics, it's all different. But this is the film interpretation, and it kind of works. So now, once he goes back in time, he's actually knocked out of the Speed Force by this Black Racer, the speedster in black, who is from the comics. And Barry, winds up in an alternate timeline of 2013. So he winds up 10 years in the past, thinking that he came back to 2023, seeing his mom, and he's all in tears naturally. And nope, he winds up in an alternate 2013. So it's great that he gets to see his mom and dad again. The father this time is played by Ron Livingston, I believe his name is, replacing Billy Crudup as Henry Allen. He was framed. But that doesn't happen, at least not yet, because Barry realizes that he came out of the Speed Force on the same day that he got his powers. So that's bad news, because he bumps into his younger self. He actually grabs 2013 Barry, with longer hair and whatnot, and he has a very interesting conversation with himself. And, once younger Barry sees, wow, what new Barry can do, what, 2023 Barry can do with his powers, he's just blown away. He's like, wow, oh my God, he's fascinated. But because that day is the day that Barry gets his powers, he has to go and recreate the accident with younger Barry. So that's crazy to younger Barry. It's like, what, you want me to purposely get electrocuted? Because that's how he got his powers. It was a combination of these chemicals and lightning and, everything. And that's how it's always been in the DC universe since the Silver Age. Barry Allen was created. That's the original story. So that's important. And they get that right. Unfortunately, when they do this, the 2023 Barry loses his powers, while younger Barry gains powers. So now younger Barry has to bail out older Barry. So to get some help in this situation, they have to go and find Bruce Wayne, because the Flash knows Bruce Wayne. And that's Ben Affleck, though, not this Bruce Wayne, which is Michael Keaton. So they go to the, Wayne Manor, and they find Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne instead, and they have a little fight, and it's a pretty fun scene with all the slow-mo and everything. But he passes on helping them in the end. Once they declare peace, he's like, no, I'm not helping you. I'm retired. I'm older Batman, But he does later change his mind after they bust into the Batcave and he's talking to Bruce through the communicator there, and they wind up teaming up, and we do get that scene that we've all seen in the trailers, which is, yeah, I'm Batman. And there you go, and they're off to the races. Hey, he's going to help them out. Barry realizes that Superman is going to be needed because Zod is back. Because in 2013, Zod and his Kryptonian troop tried to terraform the Earth and take over the world in Man of Steel, in that movie, and the only defense against Zod was Superman. No one else was powerful enough, with all the same powers. So they need Superman bad. They convince Bruce Wayne in his Batwing, to go and rescue Superman, who winds up being Supergirl, because it's an alternate timeline now. So things have changed. And in this timeline, Kal-El, Clark Kent, never made it to Earth, so the infant did not survive, sadly. So, Zod and his troop are attacking the U.S. Army, and Zod reveals to Kara that Clark did not survive, and this sets off Kara, and they fight, and unfortunately, Zod kills Kara and uses her DNA to terraform Earth and create new Kryptonians, I guess, maybe. And anyway, he did pretty much the same thing in Man of Steel, right? So he's doing that, and she's dead, and also Michael Keaton's Batman dies. He goes after the big ship and winds up getting shot down, and younger Barry, 2013 Barry, says no, he has to go back in time, and he has got to save them, and unfortunately he can't save them, because no matter what he does to save them, they get killed another way. So it's fate, keeps happening over and over and over again. Then the black-suited speedster is revealed in the Speed Force to be 2013 Barry, who just never stopped. So 2023 Barry realizes this and goes, oh my god, we can't change anything. We really, really couldn't change anything, and has to stop the Black Racer, the 2013 Barry that is now corrupted. We'll call him Corrupted Barry now. And Corrupted Barry tries to attack 2013 Barry, because 2013 Barry knows that he has to go and basically let his mom die. And so that drives the Corrupted Barry crazy. Corrupted Barry tries to kill him, but 2013 Barry gets in the way. So Corrupted Barry kills himself by killing his younger self. There we go. All right. It's a bit convoluted, I know. But anyway, that's how that ends in a nutshell, okay? Yeah. So, not a bad way for the antagonist, who turns out to be also the protagonist, to go in this situation. I mean, they had to stop him. He was creating all this chaos in the timeline. And now Barry has to go and face his mom one last time and put back the can of tomatoes that he put in her cart originally. It's all about a can of tomatoes. It really is. In the end, because then the father wouldn't have had to go out for tomatoes later. He would have been home to save her from being stabbed. So because he had to go out for tomatoes because she forgot the tomatoes, that's why she was alone, vulnerable, and killed, right? So he had to put that back to the way it was. And it's a pretty sad scene. No, I didn't cry. I didn't tear up, but it was very well acted. I thought that Miller and the actress that played his mom were both very, very good here. So, yeah, he lets that happen. He lets her die in order to repair the timeline, and he comes back to 2023. When Barry gets back to 2023, his father is absolved of the crime. So the video footage is restored because technology is better, and he winds up looking up in the video. So I figure that Barry did that in 2013. It made him look up somehow, and it distracted him, just in a little noise, something like that, Wouldn't mess up the timeline, would just make him look up, right? So I think that's what happened. But regardless, his father is innocent. He's set free after being framed for the murder of his wife and Barry's mom, and so they're happy, they're reunited, they're back outside the courtroom, and outside the courtroom, Barry Bruce Wayne's coming. Here comes Bruce Wayne in his limo, and or whatever it was, some fancy car, and it's George Clooney. It's George Clooney, Batman. It's George Clooney's Bruce Wayne in this case. And fantastic that they did that. The whole audience erupted with laughter. They roared for George Clooney. And that was very funny. For me, I thought, okay, it's not a serious DC movie. Like that's how we knew this ending means it's not that serious. And therefore, we don't really take the whole murder and death and all that stuff seriously, especially since it's a timeline movie where we're messing with stuff. It's Back to the Future, basically. We're hurting the future and having to fix it. It's Flashpoint. So what can you do? It's a goofy, silly movie in that respect, but it wasn't bad. It didn't bother me that much. As a comic book fanboy. The original scene, actually, the original deleted scene for the ending was supposed to be Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne and Sasha Calle's Kara, Supergirl, and they were supposed to be outside the courtroom and say, "Hey, you did it, kid," or whatever, and but no, they scrapped that. They went for the Clooney gag instead. The post credits is pretty cool too. I liked it. It's again more silliness with silly Justice League characters. These two are the goofballs of the Justice League, Aquaman and Barry Allen Flash, unfortunately. Again, he should be more like Wally West or Bart Allen. He's just not Barry. But anyway, it's a fun little scene with Aquaman drunk, and he's flopping all over the place like a fish because he's drunk, and he falls down in the puddle, and he's like, "More beer!" And okay, it's not really something that is mandatory to stick around for by any means, but it's still a funny little scene with these two actors that are obviously having a lot of fun. So, in conclusion, as a DC movie, The Flash didn't really disappoint, maybe at the box office, right? But it didn't disappoint. The only thing for me, of course, is that I don't like Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. I think he's miscast. He's too goofy for my taste anyway. I mean, a lot of other people will like this version of The Flash because he's kind of funny. He's got good dialogue this time around, which is a relief, but he is more like Wally West on the cartoon Justice League Unlimited, or more like, Bart Allen, Impulse, because he's impulsive, and that's just, for me, I wish they would get the character a little bit more right in that respect, but Miller did do a good job in the dual role. I don't give a damn about his personal life or, the tabloids or any of that stuff. I only care about how was he cast in this film, and how did he do? And this time around, he surprised me. I thought he was pretty good, this time around. So, yeah. That's, coming from a comic book fan, right? And I know no one in Hollywood cares about, pleasing comic book fans, certainly. It's not about us. It's about movie-going audiences that are used to superhero movies. So, in the end, they'll wind up being compared to Marvel movies. And I thought this was not bad, not bad at all. In that respect, comparing them to some of the better Marvel movies. But I will certainly say that I wish we had Henry Cavill for this instead of just, rubber Cavill. We had CGI Cavill in this movie, and in the Speed Force we see him, and it's just kind of like, he looks kind of like an action figure or something. He doesn't look like a real person at all. But oh well, I couldn't be happier with some of the other cameos, certainly. I also got to mention that, right off the bat, that the Kara Zor-El Supergirl change, I did like that. I thought it was a good gender swap. It wasn't to be like, super inclusive, really, or anything like that. I think it was just a good opportunity to have, a different Kryptonian, and in this case, Supergirl being a real character. It's not like they made up a new character or nothing. This is, Supergirl. They could have gone with Power Girl too or something, but I thought this was fine. And it's another timeline, another reality where Clark Kent, Superman did not survive. The infant did not survive, as Zod tells her. Sasha Calle, she was very good. I liked her as Supergirl, as Kara Zor-El. Michael Shannon returning as Zod is always a treat, of course, and all of his minions and everything were great. And some of the other cameos, some of these cameos I got to mention here were fantastic. First off, Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater came back as Superman and Supergirl. Okay, they were made. I'm not sure how exactly they did this with archival footage of Chris Reeve, I assume, and either new or existing footage of of Helen Slater. I'm not sure. Like, they probably just used archival footage for both, and they actually looked really good. I thought that they were really well done. I mean, sure, they still kind of look like statues in a wax museum, but but they still look great, and it's a great tribute to Reeve and, also George Reeves as well. And I say Reeves so that people, remember. I'm trying to get people to remember that Christopher Reeve and George Reeves were both Superman, but their names are just a touch different. People get them mixed up, but who cares? It's okay. Point is that seeing George Reeves again was very cool, and Adam West as well, the 66 Batman, and several of the villains too can be heard in the film. Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash, is there as well with the old, the Mercury helmet there. That's awesome. I love Jay Garrick. He's been fantastic on the Flash TV show. And Nicolas Cage. Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Nick Cage. Volumetric capture with some CGI. Yeah, that's how they did this. And of course, there was an original script and idea that that Nick Cage was going to play Superman, and they didn't wind up doing that. But they did have the giant spider, so they had Nick Cage, Superman, fighting the giant spider. It was beautiful. He had the flowing long hair and everything, and just like Kevin Smith told one time, he told about this giant spider fighting Nick Cage, and that was the concept for his script, which is Superman Lives. Just fantastic stuff. Just wonderful stories. I encourage everyone to look that up on YouTube. Seeing Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck again is great, but it is a bit bittersweet because it does feel like the end of these characters, with the exception of Aquaman 2, which is on the way, certainly. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a whole new different DCU when with James Gunn taking over, and it's going to be the new DCU, and I can't wait to see that. It's going to be fantastic. So, despite some of the CGI looking kind of plasticine-y, kind of Clayface looking in the Speed Force and stuff, and despite the story being a little bit too goofy, and the character of Barry Allen, both versions, 2023 and 2013, they're both kind of goofy, kind of silly. Obviously, the older one is more mature, and that's a relief. It's like, okay, he's actually kind of mature in this movie. Oh, thank God. Ezra Miller kind of won me over a bit in the end, and I thought, okay, you know what? He's made The Flash his own. But I think this may be the end of The Flash for him, just like all the other actors that, are in the Snyderverse or the Joss Whedon Justice League or whatever, So this seems like the end. I do prefer the animated Flashpoint to this, and I highly recommend that film. Go see the animated Flashpoint film, or get the comic. If you love comic books, definitely pick that up. It changed the DC universe forever. That was all right before the New 52 in 2011. So anyway, this movie, The Flash, wasn't a bad movie. Not a bad time at the box office whatsoever, especially if you're a DC fan. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people laughed, especially at the Clooney scene, and that was good to hear. So fun, but too silly. Keaton steals it, and I did like Supergirl. Miller was pretty good. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. All right, guys, that's all for me. This is Neil. I'm out of here like the Flash. And until next time, peace.